Hey sketchy friends, today I want to show you this set of paints from Paul Rubens. I also have the sketchbook as well to talk about. I'll show you that in a minute. So these were very kindly sent to me to try out, so thank you to these guys for sending them to me. And the presentation here is just amazing. Look at this, it comes with this beautiful cloth in this nice box, and then in this really nice tin. So I'm not crazy about the baby pink colour, not really my jam to be honest with you, but it's distinctive at least. So you get this little leaflet in here. I can't read any of it, but it's still nice information to look at. And again, another leaflet, I'm sure, just with a bit more information about the paints. And actually you can swatch your paints on this paper. It seems like it's like a watercolour kind of paper or something. So I really like the packaging job that Paul Rubens have done with these, even the wraps around the paints. I just think they look really nice. I actually ended up sticking them in the back of the sketchbook that I'll show you in a minute, because they were still sticky, and I don't know, it just seems better than throwing them in the bin, so I quite like how it looked. And then of course this middle tray comes out as usual, so you've got a bit of a mixing area in the bottom if you need it. So the paints are quite nice and easy to unwrap. There are 24 paints here. This set is also available as a set of 12 and also a set of 48 as well, and you can buy them from Amazon UK and Amazon US. I'm not sure about the other Amazons, actually, I haven't checked to be honest with you, but I'll put the links to the UK and the US in the description below. And yeah, you get this really nice looking cloth. I don't really know if it's just a presentational thing or it's something you can use to wipe your brush on, but it would feel a shame, it seems too nice to wipe your brush on it. And here is the watercolour sketchbook as well. So again, in this rather fetching shade of pink, if you're into that. I think it does come in black as well as the pink. With the paints, I couldn't see any other option other than pink, even though on Paul Rubens' website it does show baby blue kind of colour and a dark blue kind of colour, but I couldn't see that for sale on Amazon. So this sketchbook is just a tad under A5, but I really like how it's presented. From the information I could find, this is hot press paper, which seems right. It's got a little bit of a texture on it. It's got this nice pocket at the back, and it's got the usual elastic band to keep the pages together, and a nice ribbon there as a bookmark. So kind of the same jam as most watercolour sketchbooks you find, although it does have these perforated pages, which is quite interesting. And I feel like, that's useful perhaps if you want to tear out a page if you don't like it, which I wouldn't recommend on doing, but sometimes you hate a sketch that much you can tear it out without ruining your book. Or maybe on the more positive side of things, someone really likes a sketch you've done and they want to buy it from you. So who knows. So I'm just going to spray these watercolours just to kind of moisten them up a bit. This is just normal water in a spray bottle, and I'm just going to try them out. So I'm using my Rosemary & Co. dagger brush here. I'm just trying to get a feel for how much paint to get on the brush and things like that, and how these paints react. The first thing I am noticing is how vibrant they are. They are so bright, it's amazing. So I'm really loving that so far. And they seem to be sort of swatching out really nicely. There's a real nice spread of colours here. I'll put a link in the description to my full blog post on these two products, and within that it lists the pigment or the colours that are included in this set, the pigment information, the transparency, and also the light fastness as well. But what I can tell you is that the vast majority of these colours are made with single pigments. I think there's only 3 that aren't. From memory, those are Madder Lake, Payne's Grey, and one of the greens. I think it's the yellow green. Full information is in the blog post in the description below. And yeah, and all of them have got really good light fastness as well. I think I saw a blog post from someone else who actually did a full light fastness test on these, and the only 2 that vaguely just faded a tad with a madder lake, so one of those reds, and the yellow green, which is that kind of bright green you can see in the bottom left hand corner of the set. So that is not bad for a set of paints that basically costs $40 US, or seemingly in the UK about £40. Now, a word on this is going to depend on when you're watching this video, but if you watch this video the day it's released, there is a sale on Amazon, so I do have the links in the description below. There's a sale on Amazon that ends today in the US, but for UK it goes on sale from the 5th of July. No, that's wrong. It goes on sale from the 12th of July onwards for a week or so. So the US sale ends today on the 11th of July, the date of publish of this video, and the UK sale is the week after, so from the 12th onwards. So if you're, and this is 2021, so if you're watching this video way in the future, sorry about that, but I'm sure there'll be another sale if you're interested, but they're already a really good price, to be honest. So anyway, in this sketchbook, I'm just doing a straight up watercolor sketching demo, or trial, should I say. And here I'm referring back to my swatches, just trying to figure out what colour I should use for the water. So let me say, this is way out of my wheelhouse. I don't really do straight up watercolour painting as much as just sort of ink and watercolour, more kind of sketching stuff. But I don't know, something made me just want to go for it and really try out this paper and really try out the paints, just doing a straight up watercolour painting, which I thought I could do. And I was at this stage and I was like, oh no, this is just a disaster. I'm happy about these perforated pages now because I can just rip it out. So yeah, you know, I was going through my usual, oh god, a 5-year-old looks like it could have done a better job than this. Again, probably unfair to 5-year-olds. But, you know, I stuck with it, and obviously I'm showing it to you, so it can't turn out too bad in the end, right? But, you know, we'll see. Anyway, back to the paints. They are really great to use. They're really vibrant. They're really nice. Also, after trying them out, I did read other people's opinions about them, and pretty much everyone agrees. These are really good paints. They're actually comparable with much more expensive brands like Schmincke and Sennelier. I can't comment on that because I actually haven't really used Schmincke. I've got a few of their paints, but I've never really used them full sets or anything like that for any extended time. So I'll take other people's words on that. But what I will say is they're just as fun for me to use as my my White Knight set, which I absolutely love. And it was quite nice as someone who has a more limited palette with limited colours. I only have 14 in my set. Having 24 to have at your fingertips was actually really nice, and especially some of those yellows and stuff that I actually just don't have in my White Knight set. So that was quite fun actually. It's not necessary. I wouldn't really want to carry this many paints around with me if I was travelling around or out for the day urban sketching, but certainly at home I really appreciated having these to hand. Now I am just going to cheat a bit, well not cheat, but I am just cracking out some white watercolour here from a painfully cheap, in fact I got them for free I think from someone's neighbour's pet cat or something, do you know what I mean? Like someone's like, oh I have watercolours, have them, and they're just awful, but it's what I had to hand. So I got out this white watercolour and was just sort of, I don't know, playing around with how to make this sun really vibrant. So, you know, this is not me showing you how to paint a sunset. I'm not necessarily saying do this. It's just me messing around at the moment. I just wanted to share it with you guys, more just so you could see how the sketchbook was doing and how the paints were doing and that kind of thing. So I did a bit of a wet and wet test on the left there, as you can see. Again, just me messing around. I used far too much water. The water really sat on the surface of the paper, so the same as any sketchbook paper, just be careful how much water you're using. This paper is advertised as hot press, and it's advertised at 100% cotton, which seems strange to me, and I suppose not all 100% cotton papers are made equal. It didn't really act the way I expected 100% cotton to react. However, actually, I only found that out after I used the paper, so I'm thinking about this retrospectively, to be honest with you. But either way, despite that 100% cotton specification, I was pretty happy with how my colours blended together. You can see a bit of a hard line in the sky there from the pink to the yellow that I'm trying to get rid of at the moment, but that's got nothing to do with the paper. That's just my watercolor that's my bad watercolor technique, that's all. So yeah, but you can see, like, you know, how really nicely some of these colors are blended together, and the paint just looks really nice and colourful. I was, you know, just generally really kind of happy with how my haphazard attempt at a direct watercolour sketch of a sunset came out. And even just layering this paint and colour back on, it wasn't making a horrible mess. It was just kind of soaking in nicely, and yeah, I was pretty reasonably okay with that's so British, isn't it? Reasonably okay with how this came out, you know. So on to test number 2. I'm getting back into my comfort zone here and just doing some ink and watercolour sketching. So I'm just sketching out the door with pencil first, just to make sure I'm going to fit it on the page okay. Just get the basic elements in. And then I'm going in with my Twasabi Eco fountain pen. If any of you guys have watched some of my other videos, you know I really love this fountain pen. Although I did have a mishap with it on a plane a few months ago, so it's now got ink all over the nice white pen end at least, but that's fine, it still works, so it's okay. And inside of it I'm using platinum carbon ink, which is what I always use in all of my pens. It's really black, it's permanent, it's waterproof, and I've never really used anything else just because this works. But you can find all the links if you click in the description below. You'll find the links to what I like to use. So again, I'm just referring back to my swatches and just seeing which colours I want to use. I'm looking at this yellow ochre and this Payne's grey. This Payne's grey seems very blue in this set though. It just does seem like more of an indigo, to be honest with you. I do just want to take this opportunity to thank my Patreons. So a big shout out to Kathy, to Sylvia, to Bettina, to Christine and Simona. Thank you guys. Thank you for being so awesome and supporting my work and keeping everything going on this channel, etc. So yeah, really big thanks to those guys. And if you want to check out my Patreon page, there's loads of behind the scenes content and real-time demonstrations and all kinds of things going on over there. So again, the link is in the video description below. Back to this sketch. Now I'm back in my wheelhouse a bit more. I've decided to go with this yellow ochre. I am being careful though, because I know it's a strong colour, and I'm still sticking with kind of a wet and wet technique because this door, it's just got a really nice kind of rough colour to it. It's got a distressed colour, and I'm seeing all these kind of yellows and pinks and purples in it, and it's just really fun. So I'm just going to go for it in this sketch. I'm really kind of just letting loose and just going for it and just seeing what these paints and this paper can do. I am having a lot of fun with this sketch though. I'm really liking how the paint disperses like that. I think you guys can see it, how it just spreads. It's just really nice. I'm not sure I get that same kind of level of spread with my White Nights paints, if I'm honest with you. So I was enjoying that effect that they were producing. I was really enjoying wet and wet technique with these paints and this paper. So I'm using wet and wet techniques just to kind of bring out the kind of mossy, rough texture of the steps leading up to the door here. I wasn't overly sure how to get this effect, so I really am just kind of messing around right here on camera, to be honest with you. And the same with this very distressed kind of crazy wall. I knew that it would look cool if there was a lot of wet and wet going on. So I think I'm actually using the black here and the yellow ochre. And now I went for my splatter, and then so much paint came off the brush, and I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't what I was going for there. But we'll just let it dry. We'll let it soak in and see what it does. It started spreading a bit though, so but yeah, I was just using the Payne's grey, probably with a bit of blue mixed here, but yeah, that Payne's grey is very on the blue side of it, blue side of things. But yeah, you can see here now it's dried, how really nice, what really effect the paint has made as it's kind of blended in together and dried. I was really happy with it. I really do think this sketchbook is great for travel sketching, urban sketching, that kind of thing. It's very sturdy, and the paper I think is totally fine. You know, it's completely comparable with other sketchbooks of this price, which I think is about £12 or maybe like 15 US dollars, something around that, or maybe like 18 US dollars. I don't know, my conversion in my head's not so great. And you know, the Moleskin watercolor book is about that price. The Sea Whites and probably the Hahnemuhle are all around that vague kind of price for this size of sketchbook, and it performs totally, you know, in step with those sketchbooks too. Like, you know, I was totally happy with it, and I'd be completely happy to take this book around with me and sketch with it. So that's my main criteria. It does the job entirely. And, you know, with the paints, you know, I wouldn't really want to carry around a set this large with me, but I'd totally be game to travel around with the set of 12, I reckon. So now I'm just going in with this Rosemary & Co travel dagger brush, which is one of my favourites, as a lot of you will know, and just adding in some details really. I think I was a bit heavy-handed with that shadow on the top there, but it dries a bit lighter, so it's not too bad. But I think it's always good if you can just go for it and be dramatic with shadows, because it really does make the sketch like pop out and stuff. So I think that's always a good move. And watercolour does always dry lighter than expected anyway, so, or lighter than what you put it down as, let's say. So yeah, now it's just going around and just adding like loads of contrast to all the bits, and that's just really what makes the sketch come alive, you know. I think a lot of people stop at the wrong place. They might stop there and just call it a day, when it's like, nah, if you just went a bit further, just keep adding more and more contrast, then it's just really gonna finish things off. I guess the difficulty then is knowing really where to stop, and for me it was my tummy, because I just felt hungry and it was lunchtime and I wanted to stop, so that's why I stopped. But yeah, as you can see, I just really love the effect of this. I'm really happy with this sketch. Really love the paint, really love the paper. Not much else to say on that, so highly recommend checking these products out, guys. All the links are in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.